G'day, Epstein Truthers. How are you? It's Mark here, known as Global Agenda, in parts unknown. Over the weekend, I was looking at the young lady, the 16-year-old, who appears to have been impregnated at least 3 times by Epstein, and she gave delivery to 2 alive babies, but one looked like it was aborted by a Jewish doctor, and the other one was given birth by an older Spanish lady, she had said, and I think it was down in Florida. Can't recall, but her story is very intense, and she's the one with the journal, the trauma journal, and one of the babies, she did have a miscarriage on the toilet, and she flushed the baby down the toilet, unfortunately. And the other one, she was able to hold the 2 babies for 15 minutes before they were taken away by Ghislaine. And she doesn't know what happened to either baby, but she thinks that the one baby might have died. Anyway, her story is very intense, and I was going to cover it, but all of a sudden, cannibalism has come into play with the latest discovery of the 2 words, beef jerky. And that's what I'm going to discuss today. Now, if you recall the Marina Abramovich, the spirit cooker from the Pizzagate, from the other psyop that was going on at the time, and she was cooking up spirits. Lady Gaga, the body on the table. And we were thinking that has something to do with cannibalism and adrenochrome. Well, it looks like that's come back in the Epstein Files. That was with the Podesta brothers, the spirit cooking, and now we've got beef jerky coming into play. And there's been some pictures online of Epstein dinner tables, and what looks like it could be a young body that they cooked up. Barbecued up a body, and we're going to discuss relationship with this Steve Hansen, a restaurateur from New York, millionaire, sold his business, and the Epstein's chef. We're going to be looking at Epstein's executive chef. So that's today's video, and we're going to be looking at why does beef jerky have to go to a lab to be tested? Could be prions, could be kuru. We're looking at it. Here we go. The one thing I hadn't heard yet in a couple of weeks, well, we've been looking at the Epstein Files since November, but the latest batch released a week or 2 ago now. We haven't seen beef jerky trend at all. So last night after the Super Bowl, I was on my computer and I came upon the artist known as Jess on X, and he put out an excellent video, shorty, like 2.5 minutes long. Trump might actually sink himself on the Epstein ship. He is completely out of touch and clueless as to where the American people are at with this shit. Zero tolerance, wood chippers, etc., etc. And I watched the video, and he's basically calling out the fact that Epstein had his executive chef Francis, making up beef jerky, and he says it's the kids. It's the kids. So it's the skin. It's not. It's cannibalism. So they're making beef jerky out of actual human flesh. I sent back, thank you, Jess. Hashtag beef jerky needs to trend this week from the Epstein Files. I see the beef jerky, hashtag adrenochrome, is mentioned in the files 149 times. And Epstein dentist girlfriend, Karina Shuliak, Talks about bringing some jerky to the island. I'll be diving into this one. So that's where we are at now. And I ended up being in a great Reddit feed on the Epstein Files, and I dug out some of the Epstein emails, which were easier to look there because they were right there for me. I didn't have to go digging for them. But one of the first ones I saw, and before I got into Reddit, was this one posted by his buddy Steve Hansen. Hansen it is, who messaged Epstein saying he's looking for some beef jerky because his dog ate it all on the beach, and he needs some, and he'll talk to the chef Francis, and he'll get him to make some more, and then he'll take it to the lab. So here's that message here. This was posted on it looks like August 17th, 2012. Jeff, old saying, dog ate my homework. Well, my dog ate the beef jerky. I was looking for the beef jerky as I knew it was in the suitcase or in my suitcase, and then thought maybe I left it at the beach, only to find the small plastic bag near the dog's bed. Hence, no beef jerky. I'll email Francis to make us some more, as I need 6 to 8 ounces to send to the lab, and I'll forward Francis the info to send to the lab directly. I'll try you later. So here we have Hansen telling him he's going to be sending the beef jerky that Francis, the chef, makes. Weird. And he's going to get the lab to test it. So why do you need your beef jerky tested? So anyway, as is the word pizza, and we've seen many references to pizza in the Epstein Files, and we all know what pizza is. Young young victims, pizza parties. He brings up beef jerky, and so does Epstein, and so does the chef, and so does Epstein's girlfriend. And why do you need the pizza? Why do you need the beef jerky to be tested at the lab? So that's where this whole thing turns completely strange, as per usual. One of the many emails on the beef jerky that I found very intriguing was this one from May 3rd. May 3rd, is that a first month 5/4? Yeah, okay. So May 3rd, 2013, from Epstein. I don't know who it's going to. Thank you, redactors. Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. To show me how to make it. Jerky class, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his new jerky recipe from the restaurant, and sends a warm hello. He is working at a restaurant called Cannibal and cooks, wait for it, beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. tomorrow if this is okay with you. So my question is, what is the ingredient of your beef jerky there, Francis? And isn't it ironic that the restaurant he works at, and there is I think there's a chain named Cannibal. Oh, how appropriate. And look at Epstein, he's laughing in your face on this one as well. So I had originally only seen the name Francis being bantied about, and then I found this email with Francis Derby. So Francis Derby's Epstein's actual chef, and he was the chef at the New York mansion, and he cooked for him for the parties, etc., etc. So here I see Karina Shuliak, his girlfriend, the one that he died. He died. He got taken to Israel. Yeah, more like. And Karina Shuliak is the one that inherited a good chunk, like a couple $100 million worth of his inheritance, her inheritance. Says here, absolutely. I'm here working today as well, in case he'd like something cooked for him when he gets home. I will set up snacks for him before I leave tonight. And Francis Derby in the Epstein Files is mentioned 1,320 times. So here we have more beef jerky referencing by Karina to Francis, subject beef jerky, August 29th, 2012. J.E. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more beef jerky on Friday. Are you also flying on Friday? If not, I would like to collect it from you and take it with me on the plane. Please let me know. Thanks, Karina. Boy, they love their beef jerky, don't they? If they're requesting it all the time like this, that's unbelievable. With this one here, Wednesday, February 2015. No more jerky. What about berries? Shall I send whatever is here? So then I'm all prepared. So now, what berries have to do with jerky? Interesting. Beef jerky, if we have any. Okay. So by now, I think you get the point that there's something very evil going on with this beef jerky. It's not cool. There's been a couple of cannibal movies made in the past. One of them was called, I think, Hell Hotel or Hell Motel, 1980. you know, old horror film from the 80s, where the plot is people are kept alive at this motel, and um, they're eventually killed off, and the murderers take their skin and they turn them into like a beef jerky. So this is no new concept, eating people, cannibalism, right? Anyway, that came up in the Reddit file. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. Now this is sent to LSJ Gordon, and who is LSJ Gordon? And why is jerky so important that it gets its own attention? Bryce Gordon, often associated with the acronym LSJ, Little St. James, worked as an island manager for Jeffrey Epstein's estate, according to documents. Alongside his wife, Karen Jordan, this New Zealand couple managed the notorious island, with their involvement surfacing in recent documents. So I read up a little bit further on them. They managed the island for apparently 4 years. They actually lived there. So they were always there on call. And of course, that's a fairly big island with a lot of crap going on there. So these two here, they probably need to be investigated as well. So let's wrap up here with this. The whole rationale for why are the beef jerkies being tested, and it all has to do with the the traditional uh, kuru, the mad cow disease, they would call it, and it's all to do with the prions. And this is where the notorious testing of the beef jerky comes into play here. So this was off of the Reddit posting that I saw last night, and you'll recall Steve needs 6 to 8 ounce of portion of jerky. That was the email that he said he needed to have it tested. So he says, Steve needs 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I guess you all. I'll email Francis to make us some more, as I need 6 to 8 to send to the lab. I'm not sure, but I think the only reason to send jerky, child human meat, is because of prion disease. So this is the opinion of the poster on Reddit. A prion disease is a fatal neurodegenerative disorder caused by misfolded protein. This infection prion converts normal proteins into more prions, leading to a chain reaction that destroys brain tissue, causing memory loss, lack of coordination, and inevitable death. While prions are most concentrated in the brain and nervous system, they are also present in muscle tissue and throughout the body. This means any meat, whether from an adult or even the meat of a baby or child, could potentially harbor these infectious proteins. Prions are undetectable by sight and are resistant to cooking, making laboratory analysis the only way to ensure the meat is not contaminated with the incurable agent. Why analyze human meat for prions before consumption? If someone were to consider eating human meat, analyzing it for prions would be the single most important test for safety. The reason is to avoid contracting kuru, the most famous prion disease linked to cannibalism. Curon, the cannibalism disease. What is Curo? Not Curon. Curo. Curo is a fetal prion disease that was found almost exclusively among the 4 people of the Papua New Guinea. It was transmitted through their endocto-cannibalistic funeral rituals, wow, where they consumed the bodies of deceased relatives, including the brain, the organ with the highest concentration of prions. And then we come full circle as to why the fetus or the little babies were being taken from my 16-year-old drama journal girl. I don't believe those babies were ever raised. I believe that those babies were used for adrenochrome, and that was just one example that we saw where that young, autistic, beautiful girl, by the sounds of it, was used. She said, "I'm a human incubator to Jeffrey Epstein," and I think that was all part of it. And down in St. James, that's probably where they were doing their ritualistic, maybe meat slaughters, but that's where they were doing some of this cannibalistic ritualism. Spear cooking, as my dear, what's her name, Abramovich would say. Spear cooking. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with this because you've probably had a whirlwind tour going through this with me. And I appreciate you listening to this, and we'll continue with it. But beef jerky needs to trend, and so many people need to be investigated, including Gordon from Little St. James Island with his wife, Steve Hansen, and the cook, the chef. They all need to be held accountable to this. And they're just a few. Leon Black is the guy I want to see hung next. I mean, brought to justice next. That's Mark at Global Agenda. Thanks for listening. Peace out. Rachel Bova is Steve Hansen's executive assistant at the restaurant that he was the general manager for, and she has appeared in the Epstein Files 153 times. So there you go. Another name that probably needs to be hauled in and asked questions about the Epstein Files.